Hello and welcome to Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. My name is Mark. I'm hurt. I'm old. I'm kind of fucking tired. But I don't work with children. I work with my wonderful wife, Jamie.
Hello!
And we are back for another episode of antics of drinking caffeine, making sure my Ring camera is working on my phone, and talking about wrestling.
Yeah, talking about wrestling.
The other two things don't really apply too much in this podcast. We don't really talk a lot about coffee. I was thinking about that the other day. If anybody has any suggestions, now, I'm not quite a coffee connoisseur, and I think that's something we don't really set as a precedence, this being coffee and wrestling podcast.
No, we're not like, we're much more knowledgeable about wrestling than we'll ever be about coffee.
Right, that's why the hashtag, the subtext,
yeah.
I don't know what the words are.
Subtitle? I don't know.
The subtitle is a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, there's just coffee here.
We do. However,
let's clarify that.
However, I'm not against a good cup of coffee. And if you know of a coffee brand that is good, that you enjoy, that not everybody knows about, or that everybody does know about, that isn't the, your Maxwell House and, Toll House and...
Sure.
What's the blue one? Maxwell House. I already said that one. Doesn't
Folgers,
matter. Folgers. There
one.
we go. That's the red one.
Nothing comes closer to home.
If you know a good one, tweet at us. Let us know at CAW Wrestling Pod.
We're not big dark roast people, though.
I'll drink a little bit of a dark roast, but I know you're not.
You say that, but then you don't like it.
We're not coffee snobs either. So what do you got? You got something that's tasty? I drink mine black. She drinks hers with a little bit of cream.
Are we wrestling snobs, though?
Oh, of course. Of course. We have a podcast about wrestling. Of course
we are very judgy wrestling fans, so I think this is perfect for us.
That sounds terrible when you put it that way.
Well, I'm constantly looking over at you and saying, what? Or what just happened? Like, you can explain better to me what I just watched on Raw?
I love how you went directly to Raw.
It's got to be Raw. I don't know what we're watching. I don't know. I know what's going on.
You do?
I do.
Well, I'm glad.
They're waiting.
If you know what's going on, please let the wrestling world know, because nobody knows.
Oh, it's so obvious. We all know what's going on.
Okay. What do you got?
Vince is back in charge, and we're all just waiting for the draft.
I thought you meant to say the sale.
The sale?
When is that?
I don't know, and I don't care.
That's supposed to happen like next summer, or is it supposed to happen during this summer?
I really don't know. Haven't paid attention to it.
How fast can Vince McMahon sell his family company?
As fast as Vince McMahon wants to.
I don't think anybody
with that mustache.
Oh my God,
he is a villain if I've ever seen one.
Snake oil all day. I'm very surprised that not many people are having the conversation of that Vince McMahon is getting rid of WWE from the McMahon name. You know what I mean?
Yes. Again, something that his family, historically has owned, and his father.
Not just owned, like his entire family, like that's been the business. It's shaped pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment.
Sure, McMahon's been a huge part in that.
It's been. For a while, it was the only part in it.
Yeah. What did WWE just say today? The championship,
the 60th year of the World Championship.
Absolutely insane. It's
gone through a bunch of different iterations, different names. We've had. Of course, obviously different champions, but just 60 years of a belt. That's insane.
It really is.
I'm not gonna lie though, I did see that tweet, and they had the initial. It might have been on Instagram. The initial photo was Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And I had to read it a few times because I thought they were saying Roman Reigns was turning 60.
Oh yeah,
that can't be
doesn't
right.
make any sense. Can I throw a random thing at you and just say, in your personal opinion, who's been your favorite champion in WWE? Heavyweight,
overall,
like world champion.
World champion? Oh my God. I feel like I'm kind of biased because...
No, it's okay. This is just you throwing shit out and just
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I figured.
Let me back that up. I guess, I don't know. I love him. I'm a diehard Stone Cold fan. Had 3-4 shirts that I kept in rotation for years when I was a kid.
Still had those.
I know. Well, I had the.
You're not the same
size. I had
the
lamest one though, and I've told you about this. It was, of course, he threw up the middle fingers, and you can't put that on a T-shirt and sell it to a kid. And this was WWE. This was a WWF shirt. This was a WWE shirt. Because I remember that distinctly. Because I didn't understand originally, back being like a young kid. I didn't understand why the fuck all of a sudden the Wildlife Foundation
what does that have to do with
says, hey, our panda bear has a problem with your logo, and they changed the entire namescape of my fucking childhood. But I had a Stone Cold shirt with, he's got his hands up in the air, and that they're middle fingers.
Yeah.
And, it's got Stone Cold down at the bottom, it's
yeah, cliche. He's up on the top rope, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
He's got the vest. but instead of like them photoshopping his fingers out,
Yeah, I know exactly what
they made him into two snakes.
Yeah, they look so candy ass.
But they're facing the wrong way. They're facing like their mouths are going towards the backside of his arms. So he would have to, in order for those like snakes to like look at you in a menacing way, not raised up in the air, he'd have to have his arms up like he's a puppy dog, like begging for a treat.
The way you're doing this is very T-Rex.
Like he would, because that's the only way these god awful snakes on the end of his hands would have it.
Absolutely amazing.
But favorite world champion,
Amazing.
Probably The Rock. I can't think of one that was more charismatic. That just, and even before he got the belt, there was that promo between when he was in the Nation Domination.
Yeah, he just
and Farouk
kept
is going
insinuating
on.
the strap the entire time, never says a word.
Farouk's just going on like, I'm
that.
going to get that belt. And it's going to be and the entire time The Rock's just over his shoulder, like laughing at him, like rolling his eyes, pointing at himself, like doing the hand motions with the belt. Like it's just so good. And I can't think of anybody that. And I'm sure somebody's going to be like, well, what about when Ultimate War? You can suck my butt cheeks.
No, it's cool. This is just, like I said, this is just for like who you have to say. Because, I mean, I agree with you.
The one that sticks in my head has got to be The Rock.
The same. I don't know if I've ever talked about my infatuation with The Rock growing up, but The Rock is what was the like pivotal point in me becoming like a huge wrestling fan as a kid. Same with like the Dudleys and the Hardy Boys, and that was just like the.
You have a Rock beanie, baby.
Yeah. I have a Rock beanie, baby. I've written like reports and like essays and stuff about speeches in Florida. They're called Tropicana speech about The Rock, and
what do you know about that 4-H?
Read his books, and oh my god, his such a mark for him.
His
now
like
he's Maui.
His initial autobiography that came out, was like one of the first books that I read, and like really like, no, I guess not one of the first books, but one of those style of books that about somebody's life that I really was like, wow, this is really interesting.
Yeah, same.
And ever since
I read it
then,
like the Bible. I just read it religiously, like like I'm not joking.
I
read it all the time. I just thought it was so interesting.
Yeah, I love The Rock. By far stands out the most in that era, and I'm probably wrong in the epicness of matches or the length of somebody's reign or the magnitude that it had on the wrestling landscape. But it's
so rare to have somebody who can talk on the mic as well as they can wrestle.
Oh yeah.
And The Rock never did anything horribly complicated, but he had such sensational moves, and he had so much like either comic effect or just overshowing.
There's so much pizzazz.
There was
so much. Just
no wonder he's an actor. Like
he just emanated it when he walked out. Like you
have to own it,
from the music to the swagger of the walk, the eyebrow,
outfit. You know.
Oh my god, so good.
Just the way he picked up a mic, it was just like, oh, this is gonna be serious. You know.
Yep.
But yeah, 60 years of champions. Roman Reigns would have 5 more years before he even beats Bruno Sammartino's record,
yeah,
but he's doing a really.
I don't think anybody's going to touch that. I really don't. I
don't think anybody
not.
should.
I mean, if at any point, or if anybody is going to, right now would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
But 5 more years of Roman Reigns having the title,
I can't
no
do
way.
It. Part time.
The entire WWE would revolt.
Revolt is a fun word. Let's go with that and continue on with WWE. Let's talk, and we only need a few minutes, maybe one. Let's talk about.
Hold on? We're just gonna skip over the idea that you just used the word revolt, and WWE is a transition into more WWE.
Yes.
Okay.
Right
continue.
back. We're circling right back in.
Never even happened.
We were talking about great things with WWE and The Rock. This is a different time. Now we're having Backlash in Puerto Rico on May 6th. And their match that they announced, they just tried to slip this in like we weren't going to talk about this. And this is all that Twitter's talking about besides Mercedes Moné. Seth Rollins versus Omos.
It's okay. Well,
tell me Vince is in charge.
Let's go through
without telling me Vince is in charge.
Let's go through. I've got it up right here. We've got Matt Riddle, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn will be taking on the Bloodline.
Okay.
Got a pretty good storyline going with that, regardless of our personal feelings. We also have Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, and it's not for me, and we'll talk about it if we want. But I can see it's going over in the WWE right now. People are talking about it. People are really wanting to see this match. Great. If people enjoy it, then best of luck
the goal,
to it.
right?
We have Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Kind of interested in that. I think that Zelina Vega has a great potential to be a top-tier star, and obviously Rhea Ripley is killing it. We have Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. This is just over and over again with Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley. Mm-hmm. I'm really intrigued to see what they're doing with Bronson Reed in this.
Me too, but Bobby Lashley didn't need to be in this match.
Of course not. I think the only reason they did was just because big meaty men need to fight big meaty men, and Austin Theory's going to look really bad if he doesn't win this one. And then we have, like you said, Seth Rollins will be taking on they call him a Nigerian monster?
The Nigerian Prince?
Nigerian Prince?
I don't know.
Omos.
I don't know. I feel like
out of the
they
blue.
put the roster in a hat and picked two people.
I think
even Seth didn't seem real excited about this one.
I think they picked Seth Rollins because he's a name. He's a big star.
Sure.
And they want to put Omos over. Whoever is
Are they going to let him
pulling
win?
the trigger, I don't think they will. I don't know.
No way is Omos going to win that. But if he loses it, then it's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we even why do we have Omos on the roster if he just keeps coming in? They won't even let him speak for himself. It's not like he can't.
We've got what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks until Backlash.
Yep. I don't even think I've ever seen these two in the same room. So I don't know where this match came from.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing with this.
They literally were like, we don't know.
The global reaction of everybody just going, when did this happen? Happy 316, by the way. Just saw the clock.
Oh, very nice.
But people like real questioning, like, where did this come from? What implemented a match between Omos and Seth Rollins? Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll see some type of like
I mean, you can't backpedal with that now.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, we can just hopefully see something of why this was set up. I mean, like you said, Seth Rollins reacted on Twitter very like the rest of us, like, okay, I don't know where this came from.
Well, he hit the Ace Ventura alrighty then meme.
And then so maybe, and I've always like thought that maybe the WWE does this, and I know that AEW does this. But do you think this is just an instance of let's see how much heat we can create on social media to get people talking about it? Because I've said this 1,000 times before, heat or no heat, whatever you I'm sorry, not heat or no heat, but good or bad, heat is heat. Like, people talking about good, bad, or indifferent is.
I guess they don't really have to worry about Backlash being like a big thing. They can still ride the coattails of WrestleMania if like they don't do well with Backlash. Maybe, but I'm really am at this point. Like, we're actually going to ROH again for the live tapings. We're going to be busy this night.
Yeah, when
Backlash is going to be on, so we won't even be able to watch it, even if we wanted to. Not really interested in watching it to begin with. I'm kind of glad we're busy.
The only other match that I forgot to say, I just didn't write it down, was, and I don't know if this is official yet, but Bad Bunny will be taking on Damian Priest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Bad Bunny is good for being somebody
he's
who
Puerto
just
Rican,
comes
so
in
I'm sure
randomly.
that has a lot to it, because he's been very vocal about Backlash, going to Puerto Rico.
Sure, he's the host of
it. Is he? I thought he was a host of. Oh, that's right. I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. Bad wrestler.
So I don't know if he'll be. It didn't work out for the Miz when the Miz hosted WrestleMania, and he
got
had to
knocked
fight.
out by Snoop Dogg, a 50-year-old Twitch streamer, formerly a rap star. I mean,
he's a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, I don't know if he still does it, but I know for a while there it was Snoop Dogg would just get on Twitch and just play video games and talk to motherfuckers, and they'd donate money to him like he was a normal Twitch streamer.
Oh God, I bet that was entertaining.
There's actually, you can look at it online. He left his Twitch stream online. It was like for 18 straight hours.
Oh, okay, I did hear about that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was Twitch.
I don't know if,
like,
like I said, I don't know if he still, I don't know if he still does it anymore. But I know it had to have been probably pretty entertaining. But speaking of Snoop Dogg, his cousin Mercedes Moné,
yes,
is killing it. Well, I guess not really killing it. In my eyes, she's killing it.
Yes.
And I'm just a lowly guy.
Hey, you don't have to have the strap to be killing it. You know?
Right. Well, she no longer does. She lost her IWGP Women's Championship at Stardom's event this morning.
Yes.
I don't know, depending on what time zone you live in. That might be tomorrow. But she lost the belt, and a lot of people had speculated that this could be an indicator as to whether she stays with the Japanese promotion or if she comes back over stateside and rejoins WWE, maybe goes to
because
AEW.
She lost the belt, she's leaving.
Yeah, it's kind of a telltale sign that somebody's leaving a company.
Yeah, but it seems that doesn't be the case. Doesn't seem to be the case in this situation here with Mercedes. She said she's going to continue working with NJPW, and her next stop is Resurgent, which is in Long Beach, California.
Yep, on May 21st, and we will see a rematch between her and, I will butcher her name because I don't say names right, Mayo Iwatani. I believe that's correct.
Yes, for the IWGP Women's Championship.
And she has signed an extension with NJPW Bushiroad, which I think is awesome. She said she's having a great time in Japan, wrestling for these promotions.
I mean, that's what it's about, right? Regardless of what people think or what they want her to do. I mean, I think the most important thing is that she keeps doing what makes her happy and what she's excelling in. Even when she got the pin, you could see she was smiling. You can tell that she really loves what she does, and that's really the most important thing. Obviously, she had legitimately an endless amount of money in WWE and an endless amount of potential, and walked away from it. So it's not, even though it seems like her persona is just about money, it really doesn't seem like it actually is, because she went to a place that seemed like they respected her, and that was the most important thing for her. So
she had tweeted out earlier today. I believe somebody asked about her. Is she still like loaded? Like she was in WWE, and WWE is known for giving their top talent, top dollar contracts. And she responded to the tweet, "I've never been richer, and I'm so happy for me." And I feel like that's probably says a lot more than financial happiness.
Absolutely.
It feels like she's enjoying the ride just as much as she's enjoying the paycheck. Because, as I said earlier, she's not exactly cheap to come by. There's been rumors that it's at least $100,000 per performance, which is a lot of money to do for one match. For what? Because I believe
people are watching it though.
It was a 13-minute match.
Yes.
And even if you paid somebody $100,000 for 13 minutes of time, that's insane. But I believe she knows where her value is. She knows how to market herself, and she knows that a spotlight is on her because of like you said, the way that she came out of WWE, the way that she walked away from, the most prolific wrestling promotion ever.
And a lot of people do that. I mean, Jon Moxley did that. He walked away from WWE and he ended up in Japan.
Right.
If you read his book, it's great because it's such a Jon Moxley book. You know what I mean? Like he is truly who his character really is. So he writes the book the way like you would expect him to talk about it.
It reads like you're sitting down speaking to John.
Yeah, that's why I really like it, because it's not like over glorified and he'll just start talking about random movies that he likes and stuff. But long story short,
Rocky.
He talks about how, well, obviously Major League, but he talks about how he was very intimidated to go to Japan, but Rocky Romero said that he could get him, obviously a spot over there to wrestle, and how intimidating it was. But a lot of people do that. They leave WWE or they leave whatever promotion, they go over to Japan. And
Cody Rhodes did that same thing. He did like
different thing.
He did his like indies run around and had a big stint in NJPW and with the Bullet Club. He was the one that ended up kicking out Kenny Omega out of Bullet Club in Japan.
Kenny Omega. Wow. By God, Kenny Omega. Let's talk about Kenny Omega, because we watched Dynamite this week. We didn't get an opportunity to see the amazing things that happened between, like we were just saying, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, basically the BCC and the Elite.
Right.
That whole skit throughout Dynamite was great. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody else has this problem. For some reason, we just get like disconnected from the app sometimes trying to watch this stuff, and it's absolutely annoying as hell.
Yeah,
we were
Spectrum
trying to connect.
can burn in hell.
It just like disconnects us, and we missed that entire segment. So we had to go back and watch it, for the first time before we actually did this podcast. So well done, so well put together. Love what they're building, but then Don Callis coming out and bringing out Takeshita.
Oh my God, yes.
And having them put over Takeshita so well like they did, and having basically all of BCC be either intimidated by or hit by Takeshita.
Right.
I was freaking out because I love him. I think he's absolutely amazing.
I was not sure what they were doing with the storyline with Takeshita and Don Callis. It seemed like Don Callis was trying to pander, and this still might be a thing. It was trying to pander to Takeshita because he knows that he is a young up and coming talent.
Right.
He's got a lot of hype behind him. He's very reminiscent of a young Kenny Omega.
Sure.
I felt like, yeah, you're right. Don Callis is not stupid. He knows
what he's doing in the wrestling world.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Right now, like Paul Heyman is WWE. Don Callis is AEW Impact.
Sure.
NJPW. But it felt like they were trying to build up like some animosity between Kenny Omega and Takeshita. And that might still be a thing. I could still see this going that way to where Takeshita joins the elite, quote unquote, and becomes one of the boys, and eventually Don Callis starts being a little bit more favorable towards Takeshita and starts being well, Kenny, hold on, you might be wrong on this one. Let's listen to Takeshita.
Right.
I don't think you're pretty banged up, Kenny. Let's let Takeshita take care of this.
And it could be that because, Don Callis can play any side that he wants to, but he basically Takeshita came out, and Takeshita is not part of the elite, but in cahoots with the elite and establishing that relationship together.
He's been associated through Don Callis.
So much so that Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita are taking on absolute fan favorites of coffee and wrestling, The Butcher and The Blade.
Yes.
I literally jumped out of my seat when I heard that. The promo that The Butcher and The Blade put out is just so good talking about the match. But
and of course,
Don Callis...
real quick, we are a little bit biased. We are big fans of Andy, The Butcher. If you don't follow him on Twitter. He's one of our favorite human beings in the world. No, it's Andy Complains.
Yeah.
At Andy Complains.
No, it's at Apeshit Andy. He changed it.
Either way, find him on there. It's Twitter. It's a shit house anyways right now. The Butcher is another one. Both Buffalo natives. We've watched them. They're the two that kind of brought us into AEW. So as much as we both love Takeshita and enjoy Kenny Omega's wrestling, got to go with Butcher and the Blade.
You got to.
I'm rooting for them, and I know it's rooting for an uphill battle with everything stacked against them. But God damn it, win, lose, or DQ, I want them to beat the shit out of these two.
It's going to be a brawl, absolutely, regardless of who wins it.
It's going to be great.
Now, the very interesting part of this is, again, Don Callis is associated with this whole thing between Kenny and Takeshita. He actually retweeted the announcement about the match between the Butcher and the Blade and wrote Golden Brothers,
which of course
in the retweet,
which of course is a reference to the Golden Lovers that Kenny Omega used to be a part of, Kota Ibushi.
Correct. So there's been a lot of speculation about whether Kota Ibushi is going to be joining AEW. Don Callis saying this really, I think, puts the nail in the coffin as to whether or not we're going to be seeing anything with Kota and Kenny again. What I would love to see, and of course you can dream as a wrestling fan, you never know, but Forbidden Door does this. Forbidden Door always does this. I would love to see Kota and Kenny reunite as the Golden Lovers versus the Young Bucks.
Okay. And I believe you're talking about a match they had years ago.
Yes.
Between the four of them.
In NJPW. So why not? Let's redo it.
Okay. Well, we're on the talk. We're talking about dream
friendly
matches.
war.
We're talking about dream matches.
Sure.
The Golden Lovers, Golden Brothers. That's all good and happy. And the BCC and the Elite having this back and forth is going to be It's going to be awesome, one way or the other. Whether it goes into Double or Nothing, or if it's going to go any further than that, I'm kind of expecting, like you and I were talking about earlier, that it's going to end at Double or Nothing. But if we're talking dream matches, the hottest thing on wrestling news websites right now is the name CM Punk. And FTR's Dax Harwood's expressed this. The internet has expressed this. And supposedly Dave Meltzer, again, another name that is a hot topic in the mouths of pro wrestling reporting and podcasting. But he has said that they are apparently coming to a close decision or a agreement or a sit down, and everybody gets their hands slapped and get the rules written out, whatever it may be, that the Elite and CM Punk might be coming to a crossroads to where they can both coincide within AEW. adding the rumor that there is a AEW Collision Saturday evening, I'm assuming, show that is in the works that should be debuting around, was it June
17th?
June 17th. Actually, funny thing, that's our anniversary.
That is our anniversary.
And I think that is the first time on a public forum I've ever actually remembered that it's the 17th of June, not the 19th of July. I do it all the time.
How many years?
It'll be 13.
12.
Motherfucker. Anyways, I don't know. It feels like an eternity.
I hope you mean that in a good way.
We have the possibility of CM Punk debuting on a brand new AEW show, basically making kind of a soft brand split.
Yeah, which this show is already confirmed to be in Chicago.
Right, the show itself. But nobody has said
the rumors are true. I can't say confirmed, but
nobody has said the words AEW Collision. Nobody has said
no. I believe
CM
it
Punk
just got patented.
It got patented, which, I mean, Tony Khan doesn't usually patent stuff like that just to let it go by. But the rumors, like the biggest, like the shit stirring rumors right now is because, like I said, Dax Harwood has alluded to this. But come Forbidden Door, which is January 25th, only a month, just shy.
Door.
Yeah, Forbidden Door.
January 25th. It's June 25th.
June 25th. I can't read my own handwriting. That CM Punk and FTR to take on Kenny Omega.
I've also heard that.
Matt and Nick Jackson.
Yes.
As a get it all out there and get it done.
Yeah.
And have everybody beat each other up.
I mean,
what? Hold on.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think the possibility of that being a thing?
What's the possibility? Okay, CM Punk is an employee of AEW.
Right.
So you can't say it's out of the fucking like
Still,
realm of possibility. It's possible.
Regardless of whether he's on TV or in talks with terminating his contract, as of right now,
he is a salaried employee, whatever it may be.
He's a contracted employee with All Elite Wrestling.
So possible, totally possible. Is it something that's just going to like naturally happen at something like Forbidden Door or All In? I don't know. I think at this point it's been so long, so it just feels like there's no way. But I mean, I think we all thought there's no way CM Punk's going to come back, and he did. So I don't know. I think it would be very, very, very entertaining regardless. I don't mean to be rude when I say this, as long as CM Punk doesn't get
plays
hurt.
Nice. Oh,
that too. It could be very toxic. And
that's my
concern is that exactly. Can all of these guys hold their personal feelings aside and just have an enjoyable match?
What precedence does that set in the locker room? You know what I mean? Just
that
because
you
the man
can literally
get away with
whatever
anything?
you want. You can attack the EVPs and still
you
keep
can
your
do
job.
worse than other employees and still keep your job, and the other employees get fired.
I think it's a really, really, really
it's a fucking
bad
PR nightmare.
idea.
It's a PR nightmare.
Buy him out. That's my personal opinion. Be like, what do you want? Here. Just be done.
This is where AEW really gets criticized here, is because these are the instances that it feels like Tony Khan is playing with action figures that he's collected over the years. And he's got this brand new super rare CM Punk that nobody else has.
Sure.
And only he can show up to the party with it. Well, now it's banned from competition. You can't use your CM Punk toy.
Right.
So he's going to make an entirely different, like, competitive area so that he can use his toy.
I hope not.
But this is one of AEW's biggest critiques, is the way that Tony Khan manages the company.
And I think that would be a good way to set that rumor or that bias against Tony Khan and be like, no, I'm taking control of the situation. This is what we've decided.
But at this
not
point,
let it just naturally happen. Like, no, be like, we've come to an agreement with CM Punk. We've decided that he's not going to be a part of the company. You know, we bought him out of the company. You know, we thank him for the time that he did put in, but you know, because of his actions, we had to let him go. Like, you have to literally be like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You can't just let it slide and just CM Punk just be like, oh yeah, by the way, last year, you know, Tony Khan bought me out. No, you have to make a public statement about it. Like, you'd have to.
Right.
You'd have to. I think that would be very important, because you can't just attack people. You're grown men. If you're mad at somebody, go back there and say something. You have the belt around. God, you have the belt around your shoulder.
Never been hand of the world and still complained. Right.
I mean, it was like the Young Bucks' dream to be able to sign you.
Not in the time and the place to do that either.
That's horrible.
That's the saddest part. It was just there was no need to do that at that time. There's no need. If you got grievances, you got grievances, especially for somebody who in a public forum said, if you got problems, walk up to me and talk to me about it.
In the same exact conversation, he said that.
Right.
Which made absolutely no sense. So if you know that you are going to snap and that you're going to be really upset and you're just not in the right mind space to have that conversation with the press, why did you?
And especially when
why did you? Because it came off so fucking entitled.
We just happened to turn that on. I remember we were about ready to go to bed or do something, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going to turn this press conference on just to have it on."
Yeah,
there.
we happened to watch it right from the beginning.
We tuned in 5 seconds before they went live, and it seemed like the minute Punk walked out, he looked at I can't remember who it was in the crowd from Wrestling Inc.
I think it was Brian Alvarez.
It might have been Brian Alvarez, but it just started ripping him a new asshole of how shitty of a person he is and how horrible of a job he does at being a reporter. And
I just remember looking at you and being like, I don't understand what we're watching. Like, what does this have to do with anything?
At first, I thought it was all like tongue in cheek, like this is all storyline kayfabe.
Yeah.
Or not kayfabe, but
it was hard to believe that this was legitimately happening.
Yeah, and it was like one of those things. Like it was so, like out in the open and out of left field. Like where did this come from? And the tirade he went on, and the idea
and just
that Tony Khan
sat there like a scared puppy dog.
And that's what I was bringing up earlier. Like he a lot of people critique Tony Khan for not. And I say these terms lightly, but not having the testicular fortitude to speak up when his top star, who is killing it in the company, who has made his company one of the biggest talking points in all of wrestling in the past 20 years, and he just shits on his own company. He straight looked at Tony and said, "Oh, he wants me to work with fucking children." What?
Again, which seemed like it
Tell
was
me
a
if I
joke.
went to work and I said that to Dan, he wouldn't smack me with a ruler.
No, but hear me out, Dan. Your boss, you don't make as much money for your company as CM Punk did for them in that short of time.
But he still would have looked at me and like, you were completely out of line, Mark.
That was completely out of line.
And I don't make nearly as much what CM Punk was making.
Tony Khan is not used to being in that position where he has to make tough decisions and look like a bad guy.
Right.
You know who's good at those decisions? Triple H.
Vince McMahon, because he doesn't care.
They've had to make it a million times over. How many times has Tony Khan had to stop a press conference because his world champion is being a fucking drama queen, complaining about how people are being children, yet acting like a child?
Twice, except the second time it was funny because it was MJF.
And
it was Pickles.
Really good.
It was Pickles. Somebody tweeted, I don't remember who it was, but somebody tweeted out, like, can confirm MJF is 100% right about these pickles. You need to get these pickles. They are so good.
Was it the reporter that he told to come get the pickle?
More than likely. In this world, I'm sure it's something like that.
It's like, here, you, come get the pickle.
I know, right?
Well, speaking of MJF, the man himself, I just want to talk a little bit about everything that is leading up with the 4 pillars and get a little bit of your opinion, Mark.
Talking MJF, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Like, for me personally, I'm at a point where it's at a high for me, but it's gone from
the whole storyline.
Okay. It's gone from interesting to I'm not interested at all to now I'm interested again.
Okay, what's got like before I give you my opinion, what's got you re-interested in it? What was the thing that the catalyst that made you re-interested in this?
MJF finally saying this is the matches, this is what's going to happen. Whoever wins
setting up the
faces
tournament.
Me. Yes,
finally seeing. Okay,
alluding to it was getting really annoying, and I needed like that final, hey, this is what's going to happen kind of thing. Even though I feel like there is still some speculation as to how this is going to go down because Tony Khan is coming out on Dynamite,
right?
And he did say that he was not happy with MJF interfering in the Sammy Jack Perry match.
Okay, so let's go over these series of events.
Okay.
Initially, we finally had all 4 of the pillars, and this has always been teased for probably like the past 2 years. You know, these 4 are the foundation of this company,
right?
And it's been it. That's what really hasn't been enough. Finally, they touch on this subject, and they get all 4 of them into a ring, and they all practically had the same things to say to one another.
Yeah,
proving that they all kind of have the same stakes.
I'm
Great.
better than you. I deserve a shot at the Triple B.
And then the next person would say, "Yeah, but I'm better than you because this."
I beat you in this. Yep, I deserve the Triple B. So on and so forth.
Great. Go to the next week, and I feel like we did a little bit of the same thing. Instead, it was everybody was backstage watching everybody of the four pillars' matches, the other three guys.
Yeah.
It was great. And then, like, for the past 2 weeks, we've gotten the same thing where everybody just talks shit against each other. And then
we had MJF
really
Day. That was a
MJF
high.
Day was good. But even then, I feel like that was like, okay, cool. We've got, they all talk shit one last time. Yep. Let's start seeing some action. And then we start. I agree with you. I kind of like started losing momentum with this and this last.
Because let's be honest, Sammy and Jungle Boy are not as good on the mic as a lot of the other people on the roster.
Right.
So it's hard to really get sold on these matches when the two of them are very much struggling through it.
Right. And I think Sammy suffers from the crowd not being into him.
Right.
I think that
Jack's just super green, obviously.
Him trying to almost come off as a face, but not super facey, has got him put in a kind of a hole where people don't really want to take him serious. And then Darby, I don't know, like every time he talks, like it's just, it feels rehearsed to me. Like, I don't know. He's got the best out of the three. And then Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, he feels the most green out of everybody.
Yeah, and then MJF comes out and just breathes, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's who's holding this all together. It's clearly MJF.
I wasn't super excited about the announcement of the tournament. I was excited that we're actually seeing some movement. Oh God. And that the matches are set. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but the tournament to determine who's going to be the number one contender at Double or Nothing, I just felt like was a little bit lackluster for something that is so big, for something that is so pivotal in who's the next big individual in the company, or who's, even if MJF retains. I just felt like the build-up's not nearly as grand as you would think. It's not there. You've got four individuals that are supposed to be what the company is based around, and you're gonna end it in 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm hoping that this is a catalyst for something bigger, that it does turn into more grander.
It does seem like it, to be honest.
Escapades. But for right now, I'm underwhelmed with where this storyline has gone.
Yeah, and when MJF finally did announce the tournament and who was going to qualify and all that good stuff, obviously the other three, but he said, okay, there's going to be a match tonight, and had everybody's name in a hat, pulled out Darby Allin and said Darby Allin already gets a pass. And that was kind of weird right off the bat.
I've thought the same thing. I said, why don't we do something where you had a double eliminator and you had you had 3 matches between each one of the men, and whoever gets the best goes.
I mean, really,
gets the bye.
You could have done a 3-way match and have to do 2 pins. You have to pin both guys.
Make an eliminator match?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that.
That would have worked, but just the way that they let Darby pass, and then the way that Darby Allin acted like a 6-year-old child with a lollipop, he was like, yay!
And that was kind of, I don't know.
That was weird.
I don't feel like Darby Allin looks the best in this one.
No.
And now that we're past Dynamite, Sammy Guevara got the win over Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
And
it was such a great match.
It was a great match, but another aspect is MJF guaranteed him a match as long as Sammy lays down in the match against him. But how did he guarantee him a match?
Because he helped him win the match against Jack.
I guess. I don't know. They're doing something.
Yeah.
I'm very underwhelmed with this so far.
Yeah. So now we have Sammy facing Darby on Wednesday night Dynamite, and you can't just think that it's going to just be Sammy winning and that's just going to be it.
And then again, you can't think that Sammy's going to go to Double or Nothing and just be like, "Oh, hear me, I'm going to lay down in the main event so you can get the pin." Of
course not.
You know
of course not. I feel like we've done that before.
And I feel like it's too obvious at the same time. This is another one of those instances where I feel the only pathway to get to where we're going is obvious, but then you look at it and you're like, there's something wrong with this. I don't feel like that they're that stupid to go that exact route.
Yeah, I think Tony Khan might interfere and say this can't happen like this because you interfered in it. It's got to be.
So then we're going to have a 3-way for
something like
for
that.
the number one contender
and then
match.
When it does happen, everybody's going to be like, oh, yay, they did give us what they want. And that's what WWE is really good at. They will make you feel like absolute trash for 3, 4, 5 Raws. You'll watch it and you're like, God, they just won't give us what we want. We just want Sammy and Kevin to win the belts.
What do we want?
Just give us the belt. Head. Just give us the belts. And then after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of you just being like, come on, they do it. And you're like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And it's because they beat you down for so long. So I think that's what's happening here.
I'm hoping that's what it is.
It's going to be better than we expected.
I'm hoping I put my nose up to this, and then come Double or Nothing, or come the night before Double or Nothing, whatever it is, they do something, and I go, okay,
that was
I'm
done
back
correctly.
Into it.
You know,
but as of right now, I'm less interested in this and more interested in the Elite and BCC.
Oh, I mean, that's not really fair to compare to.
But I think, but you're talking the world title. You're talking the most coveted prize in AEW.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be favoriting a group of 6 men fighting each other.
Sure.
Compared to what we're seeing with the world title that's supposed to be the everything of your company.
You're 100% right.
And that's why I've got an issue with it.
But maybe it'll be better than we expect.
I hope so.
And it usually is. Usually if there is something in AEW that everybody's like, don't really know, a lot of times they end up doing it well. So they are great wrestlers. Let's give it that. All 4 of them really are phenomenal wrestlers, good at what they do. They're all a little bit different of a style, but they're all really great wrestlers. So you can talk on the mic and be terrible at that all day, but if you can't perform, then we have an issue.
Right.
So I don't think we have an issue with the talent that's coming into this. I think we just have to let it.
We got to let the story breathe a little bit.
Let it simmer a little bit longer, you know?
I want, and we'll move on after this. What I want, and it doesn't have to happen at Double or Nothing.
Is it lovin'?
I do want some love. That's for a different podcast.
Yeah. We are not that type of podcast.
It may not be a Double or Nothing. It may not be a Forbidden Door. But what I want is dream match. Dream match. We're doing a lot of dream matches today.
Yeah, why not?
I want MJF to win. I want him to retain, whether it's a fatal 4-way, whether it's a 3-way, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's Sammy, whether it's whoever. I want MJF to hold that title up. His music's playing.
Okay.
I want a voice to come over the speakers, and it's Britt Baker saying, cut the music, and I want her to walk out and challenge MJF for the world title.
Oh.
And I want Jamie Hayter to be the women's title, and I want Britt Baker to be the world championship. Fuck this men's department bullshit.
That would be insane.
I am such a fucking proponent for giving a woman, the fucking world title.
Yeah.
They're doing it in GCW. Masha Slamovich is the GCW world championship.
Yeah, she just retained last night.
She's going to obviously go against Blake Christian. I want to see a woman in a major wrestling promotion on fucking TV to go over as the top performer.
You want to talk about like being able to get on Twitter and have all of Twitter raving and the wrestling community in a complete awe?
Right.
That would be insane.
Fuck a Roman Reigns. Fuck 1,000 days. Fuck a Grand Slam champion. I want. Where the fuck is the women's world champion? Where is the women holding the world championship, the AEW world championship, the WWE world championship? Fuck Cody Rhodes. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Put that shit on Becky Lynch.
Right?
Like, fuck that. Like, why not?
You want to talk about the man?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
I think it would be cool because they're doing such a good job with putting Rhea over as being so strong that she's going eye to eye with Solo Sikoa.
Could you see her going against Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
In a pay-per-view, premium live event, suck my ass.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
That, like, we're always talking about empowering women and all this
but
stuff.
I think that
give that spot to a fucking woman that deserves it, and I mean that.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and I feel like we're getting like a little bit of a glimpse of that with Adam Cole and Britt Baker getting the beatdown that they did, especially Britt. She's got a black eye from Chris Jericho, Saraya, and that whole crew. So it kind of seems like how cool would that be if it was Chris Jericho and Saraya versus Adam Cole and Britt Baker, but you know, we do it a mixed tag match.
Or just do it in a tag match. Fucking mixed tag match.
Yeah.
Like drop the mix. It's a fucking tag match. You've got 4 contracted employees that are willing to fight one another. Why does it have to be boys versus boys? No,
but just let everybody fight everybody.
Ridiculous.
I think that would just be so much fun. I mean, everybody can fight everybody. You're a wrestler.
I mean, Billy Stark's got her face smushed in.
By Blake Christian,
Blake Christian. I mean, go look that clip up. We are always saying that on this podcast.
It's such a great sell.
Good Lord, she looks like...
Go with it.
She fucking loses her neck.
I know, and she's 18-year-old not little girl, but young girl. It's just insane. Like, go with it. Britt's obviously, again, you know, like a pillar to AEW. She's not necessarily included in this, but she's definitely expressed some hate towards everybody else being called a pillar, but not her.
So moving on, we've talked a lot of AEW the past couple of episodes. just because ever since WrestleMania, WWE just has not been hitting it for us. You and I have been more privy to taking our time and doing something other than watching Raw, and then checking out the highlights the next day and getting the gist of everything,
it's just
and
too
maybe
much
watching
fluff.
a couple videos.
The matches seem forced. It's the same thing over and over, unfortunately.
And we do have, come next Friday, we have the WWE draft being a thing. So we're going to see a bunch of shakeups. We're going to see some tag teams split up, maybe. Maybe we'll see some tag teams reform.
Some new talent coming into the roster with everybody else. Yeah.
We've got rumors of some NXT talent being brought up into the main roster, which I think is going to be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, they need it.
I feel like Braun Breaker is probably going to be one of those individuals. Hopefully a couple more tag teams to maybe liven up the tag team division a little bit. But before we see the draft mix up all of these tag teams and throw championships on different shows, possibly, we saw Gunther defend his Intercontinental title against Xavier Woods.
Yes.
This was probably one of... it's definitely WWE's best match this week, if not one of the best matches of the week.
Absolutely.
Between AEW and WWE. We still have got to watch ROH. We got that queued up after we record.
It was Xavier Woods' first time going after the Intercontinental Championship. So it really felt like, wow, this might actually happen. And Xavier Woods felt like so out of left field to actually be the person to come up and challenge Gunther for his Intercontinental Championship. But it was like, once it was announced, it really did feel like this might actually happen. I mean, Xavier's super talented.
Yes, he is.
Way over. This could totally happen. And he gave him a hell of a match.
A former tag team champion. He knows what it's like to be
it's like 13 times or something.
Oh, yeah, ridiculous.
15, 16,
and of course, you got the Freebird rule with the New Day, where if you don't know what the Freebird rule is, you have a trio of individuals, but the trio holds a tag team title, and within defending their title, they can swap out members.
Yeah, the Shield.
The Shield did that. Yep. A lot of tag teams, trios have done that over the years. But obviously, he knows what it takes to be a champion.
Of course,
he looked phenomenal.
He did. Gunther looks great too.
Gunther has looked better and better ever since he's got to the main roster. I don't know if WWE got their hooks in him and like, listen, you need to get your diet a little bit more on point. But he looks phenomenal. But honest to God, Xavier Woods has not been featured as much on TV, and he must be spending that time that he's not on TV in the gym.
Yeah.
Besides playing video games.
Yeah.
Because he looked phenomenal.
He does. He always performs well.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Xavier Woods. I met him. It was literally, I didn't really meet him. I just ran into him at an Andrew WK show in Orlando.
Random.
Probably 3 weeks before he got signed to WWE. And that was back when he was, what was his name? It was Credence. I don't remember what his name was. Something Credence. But to be able to watch him like come up in through WWE over the years has been really kind of cool for me. So to see this has been, that he's going to have a title shot or had a title shot against Gunther. But the biggest news of this is that there's rumors that Big E, we've just had a 1 year date of him being injured with that neck injury from Madcap Moss after he threw him over and he landed on his neck and did something to the vertebrae. Very, very scary injury a year ago, and his recovery has been phenomenal. He said he's been in the gym since 2 weeks after his injury, and he says he feels great. Rumor is having it that we might see Imperium taking on the New Day as they reform, because Kofi Kingston's also out nursing an ankle injury, as well as Big E focused around fighting Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship.
Don't tease me with a good time.
I can't.
Wow.
I really hope the internet wrestling community is right about this one and these rumors are true.
That would be absolutely insane.
Because
talk about dream matches. That would 100%. Be so good. By the way, is it Consequences Creed?
Consequences Creed. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What did I say? I think I said Credence. I'm thinking Credence Clearwater.
Yeah. Wrong Credence.
Right.
That seems like one of those like holy shit like dream match moments. I mean, talk about strong versus strong. Like,
and I had it in my mind that Big E was done. Like an injury
so did
like
I,
that.
And I think a lot of people do. So can imagine the comeback.
Well, I think you kind of have to with an injury so severe like that. They told him that he may never be able to wrestle again, ever.
Right.
Like just that easy.
Understandable. He was lucky to live, let alone be able to walk.
And I just had it in my mind, like, man, it's been a year. We haven't heard any updates. We haven't heard anything.
Perhaps
Worst case scenario, we're not going to hear, I figured he's not going to come back.
Yeah.
We're just glad he's alive.
Maybe they're keeping it quiet, especially since Kofi's out, you know?
Yep, and I mean, I would love to see that after the draft, and that's what they've also theorized like it's a science project, that come the draft, that's when you might see Big E pop up all of a sudden in the draft.
And they're
right.
like, oh, shit.
Because, again, he's still an employee of WWE. He's just been hurt. He's got to go somewhere, though.
Okay.
Or maybe they won't. Maybe
That's a fun way to do it.
Maybe they put Xavier Woods on Raw or SmackDown, and he just shows up one day. Imperium comes to beat the shit out of him, and here comes fucking Big Meat Man himself with Kofi Kingston at his side. It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Wouldn't that be crazy, too? Like, obviously, Kofi's out, so... Xavier Woods is getting attacked, right, by Imperium. So the music hits, and like, it's a new day, and everybody's like, oh shit, Kofi's back, but it's
Braun Strowman.
Not
oh, no.
Kofi.
It's Big E.
It's Big E.
I would love to see it.
That would be legendary. The people's faces would be like, holy shit.
It would be great, and I'm really hoping that Big E gets healthy enough to just be okay. But
I know, even if he's just alive, I'm happy.
He is. He's perfectly fine as of right now, and I just would love to see him back in the WWE.
He seems like one of the best people, like such a positive dude, like genuinely just Big E, the person.
He's been questioned if that's it for his wrestling career, like how does he feel? And he's even said, like, I'm blessed to have what I had.
Yeah.
And from that little short, even if that's it, that's all I got in wrestling was these years. He said it was the best years of my life.
Yeah,
and it's
what a
set
career.
Up so much more for me in my future that
that's amazing.
This has made me give me the capability to be set for the rest of my life.
You could be an actor or do something with like that with your life, or just be a commentator or something. You know,
he could be, honest to
God,
God,
charisma.
That man could do an IFBB bodybuilding
for real, or
like
be a trainer or something. Like
be a trainer, be even a WWE
endless.
trainer.
And I'm pretty sure he's from Tampa, which is pretty cool.
Yes, he is. He's another one that I feel like we watched since day one because we watched him come in.
Yeah,
he was with AJ Lee, who is now the wife of CM Punk, and I just would love to see him back in the WWE. That's my whole point of this.
I just hope he's okay. You know, for me, I just hope he's okay. Let alone hope he comes back to the ring.
So the draft's going to be a big thing, and hopefully we'll see some good matchups like the Imperium and New Day.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to again the switch up. And one last thing I would like to say to kind of wrap up this podcast is, and we've never really done this before, you know, we could talk about things that we like and things that are going well. And I want to be that positive podcast that, you know, sometimes there's some bad things in wrestling, but for the most part that we wouldn't stay watching this and you wouldn't listen to this podcast if you didn't enjoy wrestling. But one thing I'd like to talk about is perhaps my favorite wrestler of the week. Most improved, the person I'm really, really focused and looking forward to seeing their career grow is Julia Hart. I just really want to say that I think everything that she's doing, working with Brody to develop how she looks, how she's just enveloped in this like dark character coming from this like bright cheerleader to this total like 180. I really like it. She's owning it. What they're starting to do with her and Anna Jay. Anna Jay kind of hinted that you did this to me. Like maybe she might be.
She's got the black eye,
dark,
just like how Anna Jay did.
I think that would be a good route for her. So I just want to say that I think Julia Hart is phenomenal and she's doing a really good job. And I think the women's division needs more people like her who are fresh and coming in and just really coming up with a great character. I love how she's been lately.
I think they're doing great by her with the way that they've developed her character.
Yeah, the intro, it's so good. The
intro's amazing, but I love how it's been little bits over a year.
Yeah.
And it started out on dark, and it started out with this, and it started out, and I don't think, I don't know if this was planned, but I think like way back when they did something and then a couple weeks later they went, well, wait a minute, we can do something with this. And they started teasing the eyeball getting black, and then she started wearing the eye patch, and then her attitude changed.
Yeah.
And
she was all about it.
It's been such a gradual and almost natural progression because it has not been huge steps. She didn't get sprayed in the eyes and then 2 weeks later attacked Varsity Blondes and turned on them and joined the House of Black.
She's like, after months, she slowly turned away when the Varsity Blondes were having matches and she stopped watching them. So it was like...
She still didn't accept the blackness. If
like her character was developing as she was still the cheerleader. Like they did such a good job of making like this slow burn with her character, and now to like see it all come together, like she's owning it. And I love it. And the wrestling is just so good.
It's gotten so much better.
So good.
I think that, and one criticism, and we talked about this off mic, is I think that the women's wrestling in AEW is suffering by the intensity of some of the stuff that they do with Anna Jay and her when they came out and they started brawling in the middle of the ring on was it Rampage, I believe.
Yeah.
They looked like they were pulling punches. And
right.
I know this is all wrestling, this is all fake fighting, this is all we're all trying to be safe. 100%
and
before
they're both
anything
so
else.
New to wrestling.
And before anything else is said, everybody needs to be safe in wrestling, of course.
Sure.
But I feel like sometimes the intensity of these two performers don't match the intensity of what they're trying to get the feeling of.
Yeah, because then they have people like Athena, like Mercedes Martinez.
They just take hits like it's
Jamie
nothing.
Hayter, Tony
Britt Baker.
Storm. These girls hit hard.
And tell
you
me
know?
these, and tell me those girls that you just named aren't ones that have had top matches on pay-per-views or on Dynamite or on Rampage.
Absolutely.
And
because they're not afraid to hit. I mean, Athena's the ROH Women's Champion. I mean,
and that match she had with Mercedes Martinez was nasty.
I loved
when
it.
we watched her wrestle Willow. It was one of the hardest hitting matches.
I mean, I was genuinely concerned about Willow.
And Willow, honest to God, she can hit hard too.
Yeah, she can hit hard too. So they dive into it and they sell into it and they are willing to be hit hard, you know, and I think that's something that they have to still work on.
Right.
But seeing the progression between the two of them has been
it's been great.
Absolutely incredible.
And
from dark matches to just being like the best match on Rampage, you know?
And I still think they're doing that with Julia. I think they're still priming her for more. They're still getting her on a slow burn because she's not quite ready to be transitioned into the women's division, you know what I mean, for the belt just yet. But she is well on her way.
Look at Jade Cargill.
And in a year's time from now, I mean, exactly. Look at Jade Cargill. She's been in AEW for a little over a year now. Look at the progression she's made. She is now an amazing performer. That granted she needs to add a couple of moves to her moveset,
but she is a completely different person
100%.
than who she was even 3 months ago.
100%.
When she would walk out and demand respect, I didn't believe it. Now I'm like, she is a bad bitch.
Now it feels like she actually doesn't give a shit when she says cut the shit and she walks away. And
it's natural.
Yeah, it feels
she
good.
Believes
it feels
it.
Right. And I think Julia Hart is so close to that point. She's just got a little bit more to go, a little bit more on the mic, and I don't know why I say this a lot, but a little bit more time on the mic to develop that character. But I think what she's got as a base for her character, for her persona, is amazing, and I'm loving it.
Yeah,
just like
Sky
you
Blue's
said.
in that same category to where she is just like
she's
on
like
the
about
cusp
6 months behind
of being a superstar.
where
Billy Stark, same thing. They're just like this young talent that are like.
I don't think Billy Starks is going to have any trouble adapting.
Oh my God, no! But 6 months to a year, all of those women just need a little bit more time to just envelop in that character and just get used to being on TV because it's a whole different monster.
Yes, it is. And I know we said one more thing,
but one more thing.
One more thing. I gotta get that sound clip, the one that you never understand. If anybody has ever watched the Jackie Chan Adventures cartoon when you were like 12, please tweet at me at GunkDudley and let me know I'm not the only one that uses his uncle's little like catchphrases all the time and nobody else knows what the hell I'm talking about. Please tell me I'm not alone in this world. But one more thing. I wanted to say how excited I am. For the first time, I can say I'm excited for a cinematic match. We have the firm deletion match.
Oh, you do want to talk about that? Because do you want to talk? Okay,
love
this.
It is. We are literally right on the cusp of being an hour, and I'll take a poll right now. Anybody raise your hand if you don't want to talk about this. Nobody in the room, including our new dog. We got a dog. His name is Duke, and he's not raising his paws. So we're going to talk about the firm deletion match.
I'm into it. This is another like kind of slow burner.
I got 5 minutes for this. Let's go.
I got 5 minutes for this too.
So
well,
we've got
kudos first of all to Jeff Hardy coming back from
another set of demons he had to face.
Yeah,
like, let's not beat around the bush here.
And he's not beating around the bush either.
I saw Victory Road 2011. I saw a lot of.
We also all saw the video of him getting pulled over and arrested, so we all know what happened.
An applause golf clap to Jeff Hardy for like probably the 5th time getting his shit together.
He said this is his last time. He's retired from
one hell of a promo.
Getting in trouble.
Said he got in the ring, got the microphone, and said, "I think the best thing for me and my health is to retire, and then waited like 8 seconds, and you could literally hear the jaws of everybody. I don't even think anybody in the ring knew. Like the way they reacted,
right?
Like all three of them, Hook, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy looked at Jeff like, "What? You just said you're going to retire?" And then he grabs the mic and he says, "From screwing up my life," and just went like, "My God,
pop, cheap pop."
Got to give him a clap. Jeff Hardy, obviously not obviously, but he is a fan favorite in this household. I know Jade Koth. He is a huge proponent of Jade Koth's life. Jade Koth he looked at Jeff Hardy when he was 12 and said, "That's going to be my personality for the rest of my life."
I did the same with Lita.
I know. But congrats to Jeff Hardy getting his shit together 9 months after
Wishing, honestly,
getting
nothing but the
arrested
best.
for his, I believe, 3rd DUI, and he had to go through some eye surgery, and he's had to go and face demons
Yeah,
again.
he's got the Christopher Daniels eye.
But it feels like this, and he even said this is going to be his retirement is going to end in AEW.
Insane.
Which means that Matt's probably not too far behind him. Got what, 3 kids, the house, the dog.
Yeah, he might have 4.
I mean, we're going to find out because we're having a cinematic match between Hook, Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy. Will be taking on the Firm's Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, Big Bill, and Stokely Hathaway.
I believe it is.
I thought Stokely retired.
It doesn't matter.
Nobody
Maybe that was part of the stipulations.
Nobody retires. Well, the stipulations haven't even been made yet.
Yeah, who
it's
cares?
just a firm deletion match.
Matt
and I
Hardy
love it.
wrote that in maybe into the Ethan's paperwork for that match. Who knows?
I love this though. You talking about Daddy Magic's nipples getting hard? This for some reason has got my nipples poking through my shirt.
Do you remember the last time they did a match at the Hardy compound?
Was it with the Briscoes?
It was Private Party.
Private Party. That's right. Oh
that was absolutely insane.
Was actually
they had a ring outside at the one if you don't know, Matt Hardy's house. Has wrestling rings compound. All over the place. Yeah, the Hardy compound. Come on.
I mean, if your entire career is wrestling, why wouldn't you have wrestling?
For real.
Rings?
So you had one outside.
I have a fire truck in the garage.
They had one outside. They wrestled out there, and then eventually they went into like a barn, and then there was a ring there too.
Right.
And had the rest of the match. It was just great. Like you said, it was cinematic. Like they brought out all the fucking
He's got
spots.
a gardener. I think his family had something to do with it.
Oh, it was so hilarious. It was so good.
But we're gonna see the new iteration
camera
of
angles.
the Hardy.
Obviously, it's pre-recorded. It's not live. They definitely shoot it so it's
cinematic.
It's cinematic. Yeah, they actually did I have to give credit to Darby Allin, even though he just absolutely irks me. That match that he had.
Is it the hot sauce thing?
No, I don't even want to talk about the goddamn hot sauce thing.
If you want to gig a little bit, Google search hot sauce and Darby Allin. We're not going to talk about
Dolan
it.
Is
Go
stupid.
for it.
He had something to do with like this really cinematic match.
It was
with
a match
him
between
and Sting.
Him, Sting. I believe it was Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, wasn't it?
I think so. I think that was right, and that was
it
like
was right
the
around
same
the
thing. It was
FTW times.
It was like pre-recorded, and it was really cinematic. It was really good. So yeah, I don't even know what the stipulations are. I was just in when they said it was at the Hardy compound.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be crazy. This must be just absolutely nuts. I always think about Isaiah when all this happens because he grew up a huge Hardy Boys fans, like what you just said we all did.
And ever since his brother Mark Quinn's been injured for, I don't know, probably 6 months, but even prior to that, they've been working with the Hardy, Matt Hardy at least.
Yeah.
But this has got to be, like you were saying, like a dream come true that you're having
a match with Matt and Jeff.
Might be in the final cinematic Hardy match. Like,
yeah,
they've teased about being their last run with
sure
in wrestling as a tag team or just in general.
Yeah, this is only the second time for this to ever happen. So yeah, it could genuinely be the last one.
Right? It's
how epic.
Again, nipples hard.
I'm so excited for the Firm. Like the guys in the Firm are just like, well, at least Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page. Big Bill. Hope something works with him. It just doesn't seem to be clicking for me personally, but Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, Stokely's my dude. Absolutely love them, so I'm glad they're getting a really good push. What a cool opportunity for them too to be able to face the Hardy Boys.
Yeah,
insane. I'll take the loss. I don't even care. You know, like if it's me, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the loss.
Oh yeah, to be a part of that.
Sure, Swanton bomb me from like the top of Matt's house. Like,
my God.
I don't even care.
Let's not tempt him. Last time Matt Hardy did a high spot, he almost died.
That was awful.
We only talk about good things with wrestling. And we hope you enjoyed talking about positive things with wrestling. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. That's going to wrap it up for us. It is Sunday night, afternoon. I don't even know what time it is. This will be posted, obviously, Monday morning. We've had a little bit of an issue the past few weeks getting on schedule. A couple of people have been sick. Like I said, we got a new puppers.
Yeah, Duke
so
Luke.
We've had a couple
thanks
things
for
going.
with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry we missed you last week. We really wanted to get to it, but just could not make it happen.
Life.
But
do us a favor, sticking with the positive attitude all the way around.
Always.
Do us a solid, positive thing. Put it into the world. And go on to Instagram. Go on to Facebook. Whatever social media platform that you have. And post a screenshot of you listening to this. We'd really appreciate that. Share it with your friends.
Tag us in it. Because we can't see it if you don't tag us in it.
Well, yeah. And then we'll reshare it on our platform.
Which is at CAW Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I believe.
Yes.
YouTube. A lot of these, all of our podcasts get transcribed into videos. So if you want to listen to it on YouTube because you don't like dealing with, big podcasts.
I get that. Maybe you're not an Apple person. That's cool.
If not, you can find us on Spotify, Amazon. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iTunes,
wherever you listen to your podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at @BaconParty.
You can find me at Gunk Dudley. And thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next week on Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast.